What's up, everyone? This is the Year in Wrestling 1996 Part 2 video you are watching right now. I ended Part 1 talking about WCW Uncensored, I believe. So I'm going to start it off talking about WrestleMania 12 pay-per-view event. Took place March 31st, 1996 from Anaheim, California. On the pre-show before WrestleMania, you had Skip and Zip with Sonny defeat Henry Godwinn and Phineas Godwinn, the Godwins, to win the finals of the tag team tournament to become the new WWF tag team champions. So Skip and Zip win the tag titles before WrestleMania 12 on pay-per-view. First match of WrestleMania on pay-per-view was a six-man tag. Owen Hart, Davey Boy Smith, and Big Van and Vader. He wasn't Big Van Vader, he was just Vader. So Owen Hart, British Bulldog, and Vader went up against and defeated the team of Ahmed Johnson, Jake the Snake Roberts, who returned at the Royal Rumble in '96, and Yokozuna. And all six of these guys were feuding at the time in a Hollywood backlot brawl match, which ended in a car chase where Roddy Piper was driving a white Bronco. What did that mean? They tried to basically rip off when O.J. Simpson was running, I guess, from the police. He was running away in his white Bronco after O.J. committed murder. So WWF took a page out of what O.J. did. They had Piper driving a white Bronco, and they had footage of Piper in a white Bronco on the freeway. I don't really think there's Piper in there. There's probably footage of O.J. running from the police. So the Hollywood backlot brawl, Roddy Piper against Goldust, and Roddy Piper would defeat Goldust. And it was a really entertaining match, really entertaining backlot brawl. I enjoyed seeing Piper and Goldust in a street fight type matchup. And then later on at WrestleMania 12, Goldust in his gold Cadillac would come back to the arena, and then Roddy Piper would basically go on the side of him and crush his gold Cadillac with his white Bronco. And then he'd get out, and I believe Goldust went back in the arena, and they brawled and wrestled somewhere in the ring. And then Piper ripped off Goldust's bodysuit, and he had lingerie under it. It was pretty, at the time, I was only 12 years old, so it was pretty vile and pretty gross to see Goldust dressed in lingerie. But that was Goldust's character. He wanted to shock everybody. And I wasn't offended by what Goldust did at all in his character. I wasn't offended by it at all. It was just him playing a character, an outrageous character. Up next, Steve Austin. I don't think he was a ringmaster anymore, thank God. He was known as Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was still managed by Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and I think Steve Austin still had the $1 Million Championship. But he was Stone Cold Steve Austin, defeated Savio Vega. The Ultimate Warrior returns to the WWF. First time since '92 that he was back. And this was his first WrestleMania match since WrestleMania 7. The Ultimate Warrior absolutely destroyed Hunter Hearst Helmsley in 1 minute and 38 seconds. And I was really happy to see the Warrior come back and return. He still had a following. A lot of fans still wanted to see the Warrior, and he was pretty over. So it was good that he returned. But it did not last long. He would only be in the WWF from WrestleMania 12 until after the King of the Ring. If my voice sounds sick or a little different, it probably is because I can't really breathe. My nose is all stuffed up and I can't really breathe. So I may sound different. I apologize. If you can't understand what I'm saying, I apologize. Can't really breathe through my nose. It's just stuffed up really bad. But I'm going to continue to do this video anyways. So the Warrior absolutely destroys Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and that was great to see. It was great to see the Warrior back in the WWF and back in pro wrestling on pay-per-view. Up next, The Undertaker continued his streak. He defeated Diesel, and they had a pretty good match, and it was entertaining. Shawn Michaels in the main event. This was the Iron Man match for the WWF Championship. Bret Hart was defending against the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and this was an epic, legendary WrestleMania match. Having trouble breathing through my goddamn nose. Anyways, Iron Man match. Shawn Michaels and Bret put on a classic, a WrestleMania classic. It's a great match. What else can I say that already has not been said about this match? It was great. It was awesome. It was epic. Great WrestleMania match. Great WrestleMania main event. First time ever you have an Iron Man match at WrestleMania that goes 1 hour. First time you had a WrestleMania match that went over 1 hour. And Bret and Shawn were the two perfect guys to put in the ring together to wrestle an Iron Man match because they could both go with anybody else. They were both absolutely super talented and Hall of Famers already. And putting them in the ring together at WrestleMania was nothing but magic. It was awesome. And Bret Hart defeats Shawn Michaels to win the WWF Championship for the first time. And I believe the match went to overtime. The time ran out, so we went to sudden death overtime. And then Shawn Michaels super kicks Bret Hart to get the job done and win the title in overtime. There weren't that many matches on WrestleMania 12, but it was a good pay-per-view. It was a good WrestleMania. It was way, way better than WrestleMania 11. That's for damn sure. So WrestleMania 12 was way better than 11. Better than 10. Probably was better than 10 also. And 9. And probably better than 8. I don't know. So that was WrestleMania 12. Up next, I'm going to talk about In Your House. WWF In Your House took place on April 28th, 1996 from Omaha, Nebraska. This took place, I already said the date, In Your House number 7. Anyways, it was a next pay-per-view right after WrestleMania. Mark Merrill making his WWF pay-per-view debut. Mark Merrill with Sable was Johnny B. Bad in WCW for many, many years in the early 90s. Mark Merrill defeats the 1-2-3 Kid by disqualification. This was also the last pay-per-view for the 1-2-3 Kid in the WWF until the Attitude Era. And then he'd return and become a member of DX, and he was X-Pac. Up next, the World Tag Team. I was reading the wrong thing. Not tag team. Up next, Hunter Hearst Helmsley interfered in the Mark Merrill versus 1-2-3 Kid match. Hunter Hearst Helmsley interfered. Up next, Owen Hart and Davey Boy Smith defeated the team of Ahmed Johnson and Jake the Snake Roberts when Davey Boy Smith used Jim Cornette's tennis racket on Jake the Snake Roberts' legs and forced him to submit. The Ultimate Warrior back again on a WWF pay-per-view. The Ultimate Warrior defeated Intercontinental Champion Goldust by countout. And I think this was for the Intercontinental title. Vader defeated Razor Ramon. World Tag Team Champions Skip and Zip with Sunny, the smoking hot, super sexy Sunny, because she was sexy as hell in '96. Not so much anymore at all. Damn shame what has happened to Sunny and what she has done in her life after the WWE Hall of Fame, what she's done, getting all the DUIs and getting in trouble, getting arrested over and over and over, getting put in jail over and over and over, getting put in rehabs by the WWE, and the WWE paying for all her rehabs over and over and over. I hope she's clean and she gets rid of her addiction problem and lives a healthy life the rest of her life. I don't wish ill on her at all. I hope she's well, and I hope she's doing well, and I hope she's living a life without drugs and alcohol and painkillers or pain pills or Oxycontin or whatever else she was into. I just hope she's living well, and I hope she stops getting arrested over and over and over. And I hope she stops doing whatever those webcams that she was doing on Skype, where she was getting naked and having fans of hers pay to see her naked. I wouldn't pay to see her naked now, no way in hell. 96, I probably would have, because she was hot as hell then. But my thoughts on Sunny, I just hope she gets well and stops getting arrested and lives a normal, clean, happy life. Because Sunny was one of my favorite divas for sure in 95, 96, 97, 98. I thought she was awesome and I loved her. And she, as I said, she's one of my favorite divas in the WWF at the time. So, Skip and Zip defeat again the Godwins to retain the tag team titles. World Champion Shawn Michaels, WWF Championship on the line. Shawn Michaels defeats Diesel in a no-holds-barred match. This was also Diesel's last WWF pay-per-view he would be on. It was Mark Merrill's first pay-per-view. 1-2-3 Kid's last. And Diesel's last. And probably Razor Ramon's last pay-per-view also. Because he would show up on Nitro in May. So, after the no-holds, that's the end of In Your House, number 7. Shawn Michaels defeated Diesel in a no-holds-barred match to retain his championship. Next, I'm going to talk about WCW Slamboree 96, and I'm not going to talk about every single match like I have, because a lot of the matches were just boring and pointless to talk about. So what I will talk about, they had the Lethal Lottery Battle Board, randomly drawing guys' names and putting heels and baby faces together again on teams. in Battle Bowl, Lethal Lottery tag team matches. The winners went to a Battle Royal and were put in a Battle Royal at the end of the show. But it wasn't the main event. Some of the teams that went on. First round, Hacksaw Jim Duggan and VK Wall Street, who was IRS, defeated their team. Road Warrior Hawk and Lex Luger and Booker T and Road Warrior Animal wrestled to a double disqualification. Scott Norton and Ice Train defeated Big Bubba and Stevie Ray. Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner were on the opposite team. That was a little bit different. I think they even got in the ring and faced each other for a little bit. But Rick Steiner and the Booty Man, they go on to Battle Bowl as they defeat Scott Steiner's team. And what else was, nothing else stood out at Slamboree. The only other thing that stood out was the main U.S. title match, Conan versus Jushin Thunder Liger. Conan would defeat Jushin Thunder Liger to retain the U.S. title. Cruiserweight title was a pretty good match. Dean Malenko defeated Brad Armstrong. And the World Championship, the WCW World title was on the line. The Giant retained and defeated Sting. That was a pretty good match. And I enjoyed it. And Diamond Dallas Page won the 8-man Battle Bowl Battle Royal to earn a shot at the WCW World title at the Great American Bash. But I don't think DDP ever went to the Great American Bash and got his world title shot. I don't think that happened. But maybe it did. Who the hell knows? But I don't think, I don't even remember who got a title shot at Great American Bash. Now I'm going to talk about some news items from 96, from the spring of 96. This was before Slamboree, but this was before May. This was April 15th, 96. Brian Pillman suffers numerous injuries in a serious car accident in Kentucky. He has yet to return to the ring by April 96 or after April 96. I think he was out the entire year in 96. He didn't return to the ring until 1997, where he was not his old self. He was not his old flying Brian self. His ankle was really messed up from the car accident. I'm sure his body was messed up also, and he was taking painkillers. So I'm sure he was in pain every single day. He shouldn't have even been in the ring, but he still wanted to compete. He still had the drive to wrestle. He still wanted to wrestle and not retire. So that's why he was still in the ring a little bit in 97. May 27th, 1996. This is huge news when it happened. It was shocking to see Scott Hall, a.k.a. Razor Ramon, from the WWF. He was a huge star in the WWF from late 1992 to the middle of 96. Razor Ramon was a huge star in the WWF. And the WWF made Scott Hall a star. And Razor Ramon also, I'm sure, made the WWF a lot of money. May 27th, during the first 2-hour Monday Nitro broadcast, Nitro went to 2 hours on May 27th, 96, to basically kick Raw's ass even more, because Monday Night Raw was only 1 hour, so Nitro went to 2 hours. And Nitro was also live. Raw was not live every week. I don't know how much they were live, but they were getting their ass kicked a lot of the time. From when Nitro started in September 95 all the way through 96, I'm pretty sure Nitro kicked Raw's ass and won the ratings war way more than WWF did. But before the NWO showed up, after June, and after Scott Hall showed up, the WWF probably did beat Nitro a couple times on Monday night. But after Scott Hall showed up, and then Kevin Nash showed up, and then after Hogan joined the NWO and the NWO showed up on Nitro, it was must-see TV. Every fan had to see what WCW was going to do. It was unpredictable. No fan knew what the hell was going to happen on WCW Monday Nitro. So every fan tuned in to Nitro because it was a better show. It was way more entertaining. The NWO storyline felt more real. It wasn't the stupid stuff they were doing in the WWF before Stone Cold won the King of the Ring. The WWF did not have great storylines before they had Stone Cold win the King of the Ring. So Nitro was the way better show in the summer of '96 through until March or April '97. Raw, the Monday Night Raws got way more entertaining and they stepped their game up. And Nitro is still kicking their ass in ratings the entire year of '97, but Monday Night Raws, in my opinion, were the better shows in '97. They were just the better wrestling show, in my opinion. But maybe I'm a little biased because I was always a WWF guy. But it was great to see the NWO show up in WCW, and I did become a big WCW fan after that. I was already a fan of WCW, but when they started the NWO, it just made watching WCW a lot more enjoyable. But I always felt, in my heart, I still feel that I am a WWE guy for life, because that's the company I grew up watching. So, May 27th, as I said during the first 2-hour Monday Nitro, Scott Hall appears from the audience and declares war on WCW. That was an awesome moment. It kicked off. The Monday Night Wars were already started, but that just kicked off the Monday Night Wars even more, and that was awesome. And then after Scott Hall would show up, I think right after June, right before Great American Bash, Kevin Nash showed up on Nitro. June 1st, 1996, Brian Pillman is restricted to a wheelchair because of his ankle injury. And he makes his first non-wrestling appearance at the ECW Arena in Philadelphia. His first wrestling appearance in a wrestling arena since April '96. Brian Pillman, June 1st, shows up on ECW. And June 10th, Brian Pillman signs with the WWF in a press conference at the WWF offices. June 10th, Kevin Nash, formerly Diesel in the WWF, returns to WCW by the side of Scott Hall and reveals himself to be the second man of the Outsiders. Now I'm going to talk about WWF in your house. I think it's called Beware of Dog. And then they would have to have a Beware of Dog Part 2 because the power went out from a storm at the first pay-per-view. Beware of Dog. I think that's what it was called. It happened in your house, number 8. Beware of Dog, May 26th, 96 from South Carolina. As I said, there was a big thunderstorm and tornadoes and just bad thunderstorms. In the area, it knocked out the power to the pay-per-view. So the screen went black and it knocked out the pay-per-view for anybody that ordered it. Could not see it. So then they put on Beware of Dog Part 2, and I think they put it on Tuesday night on pay-per-view after Monday's Raw. So, matches at In Your House Beware of Dog were Jake the Snake defeated Justin Hawk Bradshaw, which was later on to be JBL. Savio Vega defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin in a Caribbean strap match. Ahmed Johnson defeated Jerry the King Lawler. The Ultimate Warrior defeated Owen Hart. And I don't know if these matches were on this. These were, I guess, these must have been the first Beware of Dog pay-per-view matches. I'm not sure. Intercontinental Championship, Goldust defeated The Undertaker in a casket match to retain the Intercontinental title. And next must have been night Beware of Dog Part 2 matches were Mark Merrill defeated Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and the WWF Championship was on the line. Shawn Michaels defeated the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith. They wrestled to a draw, so he did not defeat him. My bad. So Shawn Michaels and Davey Boy, I believe they did a finish where both of their shoulders were down on the mat. The referee counted both of their shoulders down. Then you had two referees come out arguing over whose shoulder was down and who won the match. One referee lifted up British Bulldog's hand. The other ref lifted up Shawn Michaels' hand. So it ends in a draw. So I guess that's how the pay-per-view ended. In a draw. There was no winner, but Shawn Michaels would retain his championship because it ends in a draw. So that was In Your House. Beware of Dog, Part 1 and 2. And it was an okay pay-per-view. The power going out definitely did not help it, but it was what it was. You can't stop Mother Nature from having a storm hit a city when a pay-per-view is going on. Matches I enjoyed were Undertaker Goldust casket match and Savio Vega and Steve Austin in a strap match. That was awesome. And Shawn Michaels and British Bulldog, they always had great matches together one-on-one. So that was good also. So that was In Your House, number 8. Now I'm going to talk about WCW Great American Bash 96. This will be the last pay-per-view I talk about on this video. Rick and Scott Steiner defeated the team of Scott Norton and Ice Train. Diamond Dallas Page defeated Marcus Alexander Bagwell. U.S. Champion Conan defeated El Gato, whatever the hell, El Gato. I think that's his name. Cruiserweight Champion Dean Malenko defeated Rey Mysterio Jr. They had a great match for the Cruiserweight title. And they always had great matches, and they would have a great feud and great series of matches in 1996 with Malenko and Mysterio. But Dean Malenko retains at Great American Bash. John Tenta, who was the Avalanche and the Shark in WCW, he was also Earthquake. John Tenta, they were calling him, defeats Big Bubba Rogers, who was the Big Boss Man. Chris Benoit and Kevin Sullivan absolutely had a war and a brawl. They went up the stairs of the arena and they went in the men's or women's bathroom and they brawled and just had a street fight in the bathroom. That was awesome to watch. And Chris Benoit defeated Kevin Sullivan in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And their feud would continue into 97. Because there was, I'm sure there was some real life heat there because Chris Benoit started dating Nancy, Kevin Sullivan's wife, or ex-wife. Who's Nancy, you're asking yourself. Nancy was Woman, the woman that Chris Benoit married, later on had a kid with, and then later on, sadly, he murdered his wife, Nancy, and their son, and himself. And then he killed himself like a fucking coward. So, Chris Benoit started dating Nancy. I'm sure Kevin Sullivan did not like it, but he was the booker at the time. I think he was still the head booker in the summer of 96. He's one of the guys. Kevin Sullivan is one of the guys that talked Hulk Hogan into turning heel. So, he's a smart man. And I'm sure he had a lot of great ideas when he was the head booker. I've no doubt in my mind that Kevin Sullivan had a lot of great ideas and helped WCW a lot in 96. And Bischoff, also Eric Bischoff, a lot of people like to bash him and say he's the reason WCW died. Well, that's not true. He's not the reason they died. And if you think that, you're an idiot. Because Eric Bischoff is the guy that basically made WCW number one and the number one wrestling company in the United States for a couple years, at least 2 years, maybe 3 years. So, I'm going to say Eric Bischoff. A lot of people don't like the man. I don't have a problem with him. I like Eric. I think he's a nice guy. And he did a lot of good things for the wrestling business. He started Monday Nitro to go up against Raw. That was good for the business. Competition. And then he kicked Raw's ass because they were putting on a better show. And then Nitro went live every single week. That was the right decision. And Nitro then went to 2 hours when Raw was only 1 hour. That was the right decision. So you can hate on Eric Bischoff all you want, but the facts are Eric Bischoff was the reason, and the NWO was the reason, and Hogan turning heel. Eric Bischoff and the NWO storyline, they were the reason that WCW became number one over the WWF. So, I like Bischoff. I respect what he did. And he did not kill WCW. They were going to die anyway, if Bischoff was there or not. They were still going to die. Because they just ran the business bad. They were losing $60 million in 1 year, every single year. I don't know how you do that when they're drawing big crowds in 97 and 98. I don't know how you lose $60 million in 98 when you're drawing big sellout crowds. I don't know how the hell you lose money instead of making money. They lost money. You can't. I don't know what they were doing. Must have been the guaranteed contracts, put WCW out of business, and the horrible mismanagement of WCW in 99 and 2000. and even going into 2001. And Vince Russo definitely did not help coming to WCW. He did not help at all. He hurt it, and he killed it even more. I'm not saying Vince Russo is the reason WCW went out of business. I'm not saying that. I don't think he is. But he definitely had something to do with it. Well, but he also did take over a sinking ship in late '99. So now I'll get back to Great American Bash '96. Sting defeated Lord Steven Regal by submission. They had a very good match, and it was really entertaining. Arn Anderson and Ric Flair, the Four Horsemen, defeated Kevin Green and Steve McMichael. And then Steve McMichael, when Flair pinned Kevin Green after McMichael turned on his partner Kevin Green and he hit him with a steel briefcase. And I'm sure the briefcase had, it was full of money in it. So the Horsemen paid off McMichael, and then Steve McMichael would join the Four Horsemen. And I thought he sucked in the Horsemen, but it is what it is. Steve McMichael was a Four Horsemen member, like it or not. World title on the line. Lex Luger lost. World champion, the Giant, defeated Lex Luger to retain the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. That was a great... Oh, and also at the Great American Bash, I almost forgot to talk about... Eric Bischoff did an interview with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and had them come out on the stage near the entranceway. Interviewed them and asked them, because I guess the WWF sued WCW over the Razor Ramon and Scott Hall likeness or characters. So Eric Bischoff had to ask Kevin and Scott on the live pay-per-view, are you affiliated with the WWF? And are you here from the WWF? And do you have contracts are you under contracts to the WWF? And Kevin and Scott, of course, they both said no, they are not with the WWF anymore. And then they brought up that there is a third man to the Outsiders. That there is a third man, and they know who he is, and that he's coming to start the war with WCW. And then Eric Bischoff wanted to know. He said, I want to know now. Tell me now. Who is the third man? He says, I told you our three men, and WCW's three men were Lex Luger, Sting, and Randy Savage. So Eric Bischoff said, I want to know who the third man is right now. And then Scott Hall grabbed the microphone and punched Eric Bischoff right in the gut. And Bischoff was bent over in pain. And then Kevin Nash hooks Eric Bischoff and picks him up at least 7 feet in the air and jackknife power bombs Eric Bischoff off the stage through a table, and Bischoff sold it super well. Bischoff looked like he had a broken back. He looked knocked out cold. So Bischoff definitely helped this storyline of the Outsiders versus WCW. Bischoff definitely helped the Outsiders in the storyline get over even more, and the fans are even more interested in who the third man was, and I'm sure a lot of fans bought the next pay-per-view. Bash at the Beach, 96. I'm sure a lot of fans bought the next WCW pay-per-view because of Eric Bischoff getting powerbombed at Great American Bash, and because a lot of fans wanted to know and find out who the third man was that was going to join Kevin Nash and Scott Hall as their teammate in the Outsiders team. So that was Great American Bash 96. I thought it was a very good pay-per-view. Bischoff getting powerbombed. That was fucking awesome to see as a fan. I loved it. Rey Mysterio versus Dean Malenko. That was great. Chris Benoit versus Kevin Sullivan. That Falls Count Anywhere match was great. So, Great American Bash, very good pay-per-view event from WCW. Great American Bash, I would say, was even right up there with King of the Ring 96. And I was at the King of the Ring 96. I was there live. I had very good seats. So, I'm a little bit biased when I can't say Great American Bash was better than King of the Ring because I was at King of the Ring 96. And there was some good matches on the show. And you had Austin 316. You had that saying was born at King of the Ring 96 in my hometown. So that was great. And I'll talk about King of the Ring 96 my next video. This was part 2 of the Year in Wrestling 1996. I hope you enjoyed it. If you ever watched any of my other videos, thank you very much for watching them and supporting me when I talk about wrestling and make these videos. So I hope you enjoyed it. Follow me on Twitter at TNAWWE Guy and at NXTWWE Guy. I'm sorry my video went 40 minutes. But I talked about, I think, at least 5 pay-per-view events. So that's why it's 40 minutes. I apologize, but I can't do anything about it. So thanks for watching. I'll be back with part 3 of the Year in Wrestling 1996. Probably put it up here on Saturday or Sunday. Bye for now, everybody.